Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. I'd just like to start before getting to this video by wishing all our American friends a very happy Independence Day, you bunch of traitorous, tax-avoiding turncoats, you ungrateful wretches. You didn't know you had it so good, and then you decided that it wasn't enough. I demand you paid all that tax back. 249 years of tax you owe us. Get your checkbooks out, lads. But for the rest of us, ho-hum, we'll have to put up with it, won't we? No, seriously though, guys, have a great day. Hope it's nice. Britain doesn't have an Independence Day. That's because nobody's ever taken the United Kingdom. We've never been controlled. We've never been invaded. The United Kingdom has only ever existed. It's never existed under anyone else. One of the very few countries in the world that can say that. Anyway. Got a very bad story here. Manchester. We're going to Manchester Police, who are investigating a gang. A gang that is at least 1,000 members strong. They are grooming children. And by grooming, we don't mean grooming, of course. We mean the other word, which is too early in the video to say. The R word. They're doing this to children. They've so far found 714 victims. And counting. Not forgetting, of course, this is Andy Burnham's bailiwick. Andy Burnham, who did not want an investigation into this kind of thing. Well, on his watch, they found a gang with 1,000 members. So what's he going to do? What's his response going to be? Suspect very little. The embarrassment will be strong in Burnham. The King of the North has an awful lot to answer for, I think. But it says the police themselves say they've made significant improvements on how they're doing these investigations now that they've got official backing. There's been funding made available that wasn't previously made available. Go figure. But apparently there is a backlog now. And they've still got to interview all these people that, they say they've got 700 still to interview. But they're now looking, and they're changing the name of it to, and I'm going to quote this, it's the multi-offender child sexual exploitation. Basically, it's because it's got so big, they don't know how else to describe it. They're actually having to create new categories because it's that big. Currently, 1,099 suspects, so 1,100 suspects, and they all have something in common. And they were actually asked about this, and the police response was that it is predominantly Muslims of Pakistani origin. Police's words, not mine. So, if you don't like that, please take that up with Manchester Police. Now, the force's approach is now significantly different from how it's been historically. Historically, of course, it was covering this shit up at the behest of the Labour Party and the Labour Party councillors. And, of course, it wasn't just the police covering it up. It was the social workers. It was everyone. Because it was embarrassing for them. Also, the fact that probably an awful lot of policemen were probably involved and, when I say involved, you know what I mean, totally, like, doing it. Investigators say they've had their needs met in terms of resources now, that they're actually doing this. They've got thousands upon thousands of files. It's all going to be going off to the CPS. But of course, there's still radio silence from Andy Burnham. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that you got this gang of 1,100 Pakistani Muslim child rapists and Burnham saying nothing? What has Burnham got to hide? Why is Burnham covering this up? Why is Burnham maintaining the silence? Why is he not out there speaking up, calling it for what it is, looking to ensure that the victims are catered for and find justice? Why is Burnham not there? He is, scared. Is he involved? How deeply is he involved if he's involved? These are questions that need to be answered. Now, they've got unredacted documents that have been released, but also redacted documents that have been released. But what they're showing is, it belongs to one basic cohort of people, as we know. But they're saying it is a multi-victim, multi-offender child exploitation investigation. Presently, it's underway, as I say, and it's coming under the Manchester police review. They are now, though, saying that they're going to need more men. It's so big that they don't have enough investigative officers, and they're asking for more to come in. What's the Home Secretary going to do? Is Yvette Cooper going to supply more investigators? Labour, no, they're up to here in it. We all know they are. We all know that they have covered this up. They have put pressure on senior police to not investigate. We know for a fact, for example, that the police have handed victims back to their abusers. At that moment, the police are complicit in child sexual exploitation. I want every policeman investigated. I want a lot of them to go to prison, because it's only by sending senior people in the police, senior people in the councils, senior people in the social services, sending them to prison, and of course politicians. I'd like to see a few MPs go as well. It's only when you send them to prison, and I don't mean 3 months in a category D, I mean 20 years in a category A. And when they see that, they're going to get 20 years in a category A prison, Strangeways perhaps, Belmarsh, Scrubs, something like that, give them 20 years and put the fear of God into every other official, knowing that this is what's happening if they cover it up. And of course, it isn't just Manchester. It's Bury, it's Oldham, it's Rochdale, Stockport, Tameside, Oxford, you name it. As well, of course, as Manchester itself. And we need to drag Andy Burnham through the streets of Manchester up to a court, put him in the dock, and get him to answer questions. Get him to answer about how much he knew, about how much he was involved. If he was involved at all, of course. Got to cover myself. But the suspiciousness of his silence, it's deafening. I don't know what will happen as this. They'll probably try to cover this up. But, you know, they've had to admit it is what it is. Of course, Maggie Oliver, God bless her, she's been justified. She was the Greater Manchester Police whistleblower, and she suffered for this. Well, she must be sitting there now with a grin on her face, and good bloody luck to her. Let's see what happens. I suspect it'll still be a victim of a cover-up, but whatever. But we've got to hear from the King of the North. Thanks very much. Bye.